What would you do if your son or daughter was given no chance to recover from a devastating brain injury? Greg Reid, best-selling author and founder of Secret Knock, didn't wait for hope. He actually took massive action, which you'll find in this podcast. This is what this guy does. So after Greg, he was actually handpicked by the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And he did a whole bunch of cool stuff with that we'll talk about, but he also has used AI to bring his son back from a coma. Greg's story is a total masterclass when it comes to perseverance, purpose, and just doing the impossible. His story is awesome. Let's dive into it. And we also have a special guest at the very end as well. All right, enjoy. Did you know that most businesses only use about 20% of their data? I mean, that's like reading a book with 80% of the pages just ripped on out. You're not getting the full picture. So the point is, you're going to miss a lot unless you're using HubSpot. So their customer platform gives you access to a bunch of data that you need to grow your business. There are things like insights trapped in your emails, your call logs, your just transcriptions of chats that you're having, either with yourself or with others. It's a ton of unstructured data that's going to really make all the difference for you. So because you want to know more, you'll be able to grow more. And that's kind of like having that full book, the 80% of the pages shoved back in there so you're seeing everything. So get that for yourself. Go visit HubSpot.com today. All right, Greg, how you doing, my friend? Fellow San Diegans, great to have you.
West Coast.
Oh, you know it.
That's right. Yeah, we know the area quite well.
Born and raised. That's right. Why would you move? Oh man. Well, you are such a super fascinating guy, and we got connected through a mutual buddy, Scott Duffy. Scott Duffy's been featured on this podcast. Now, finally, he's also my business partner, and I'm sure he's partnered with you on stuff I don't even know. How'd you meet Scott? I'm just curious because he was probably the episode right before this, so people are kind of familiar with Scott.
Yeah, I think it was an online chat room. I pet puppies or something like that. I don't know.
Puppies, it sounds about right.
No, we go back 20 years. I mean, we've been friends since nice. quite a while before I even started working with the Napoleon Hill Foundation and doing all these books. So it's been a really great journey.
Awesome. Yeah. No, and he's a fire starter like you, and just I think the thing that I've realized about studying you, learning about you, and just the quick interactions is, tons of ideas. You're a fast activator, but you actually get stuff done. You do the thing. You don't kind of hold back, pontificate. Is that something that's always been, or is that like a learned trait?
Well, I believe it's the action in the law of attraction, that makes our dreams reality. Think it, feel it, get off your backside and take action and go do it. I also got to be very careful because people come to me to put their crap on me because they know it'll get done. And I realized early on, I became a receptacle of other people's unfinished business. And I stopped doing that about 8 years ago, just recently. And it was really interesting. I couldn't understand why everyone kept coming to me, but the realities are I would finish the projects. And now I've got a new rule. I only say yes to something that I know and I promise that I will complete without question.
What made the shift? I'm curious about that. And like you said, now you're saying yes to things that you could finish. So I'm curious, how do you define a project that is finishable in your eyes?
Well, yeah, it's the knowing, not hope, not wish, not believe. But when I know that I can knock that out, I'll say yes. And so I'm very particular of what I give my attention to because there's so much chatter out there. And especially in our sphere of influence that's very connected. Everyone has great ideas and concepts and, but the realities are if it pulls me away from mine, then I got to learn to say no, unless again, it serves a higher good.
That's good. What was the thing though? Like, was there just like a breaking point? Were you just like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. Or you were just tired of old patterns?
Yeah. I also realized that I had spent a lot of my life in my professional career serving so many other people, which is admirable and it's great. So I'm going to be very clear. On the same note, I realized that I didn't have a chance to focus on my own success. So for example, I worked for 10 years on a project creating a major motion picture for a good buddy of mine. And he was the founder of Make-A-Wish, and I wanted to grant his wish. So between all the different things we did and the trials and tribulations of making a film and promoting, that was 10 years of my life dedicated to someone else's dream. And then I worked with Napoleon Hill Foundation, Think and Grow Rich, an amazing thing. Again, it was 12 years of my life dedicated towards putting a spotlight on other people. Well, that's 20 years lined up where if I was focusing on my own mission and dream, I realized I could probably have been further down the field with certain activities. So I'm very cautious now of what it is that I send my attention to. And again, I really am grateful for what I did. I just want to be very clear. I also realized that, I'm going to be very careful now of what I, dedicate my life and attention towards.
I think that's like the plight of the entrepreneur. And I don't know, I'm curious of your thoughts that we see how to solve problems. We're just natural problem solvers. A lot of us are so fast activators, right? So we can like, oh, I can see how to do this. Let's go. Let's say yes and figure it out. Do you find a lot of people are in that kind of mode?
Yeah. And I think you and I are pretty good, and Scott is, where we don't have to take on their stuff. So we can still say, hey, real quick, have you thought about doing this, this, and this? One of the cool things about myself, I'm dyslexic. Can't spell, read, write for crap, but I've been published and done all these crazy books.
100 books,
and
right?
157, 45 languages. Look, check this out. Got a
Sorry, I
star on the Walk
downsold
of
you.
Fame,
Right.
right? Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So what happens with dyslexia and with ADD is that I can see the end and then reverse engineer. So now I've honed the craft where I can sit someone down and say, well, here's a goal, and then give them the blueprint. But what's important is I don't have to follow the blueprint.
So how do you get it from idea to paper? Like, I know it's a big old process, but like, I got to close the loop because I'm sure someone's asking, like, how the heck does this guy write 156 books, all the languages, and not be able to write or read?
Well, first of all, Joe, it's 157, and
Sorry.
I'm kind of insulted by that extra one. I felt so funny. So the whole idea is you work your strengths and you align or you hire your weaknesses. So I'm full of crap. I'm a good talker, but I can't write. So I have these ghost writers, and I'll sit there and say, I want to write a book. A boy, wants a bike. He gets off his back. He mows his neighbor's yards. He makes money, collects it all, and buys a bike. And they return it to me. It was a glorious Sunday afternoon. A young bright-eyed lad caught the entrepreneurial dream as he went outside. So I work my strengths. They work their strengths. And together we've impacted the lives of millions.
I love it. I love it, man. And I know you have a publishing house as well, right? A whole company that basically does this for other authors. Briefly, just tell me on that. I want to go back to some of these other points, but I figured since we're on this vein, tell me about this publishing company you have, because now you've like scaled, it seems like your superpowers and others.
Exactly. All the people that help me, because I suck at certain things and they excel, and they not only that, they won me all these friggin' awards and crazy stuff. Well, imagine if you could have direct access to those people. And so I started a publishing company. Since I'm not writing books myself anymore, you can now hire all the same people that have helped me and my friends directly to the source. And I'm not talking about some one-offs. These are world-class, all award-winning, top of the food chain people. Yeah. And you get a jump to the front of the line.
I mean, you're helping them with what, the ghostwriting all the way, clarifying ideas, but also just actually making them seller status, right? Like,
from someone sitting there going, I got an idea, to them having a best-selling book in their hand, we do it cool. All for them. Nuts to bolts. And what's really nice is we teach them the blueprint so then they could do it themselves. So what's really amazing for me is that the next book, you can do it all and duplicate it just by following the exact same successful actions.
How do people find this publishing company? Just to
we made it so simple. Joint venture publishing. That's it. Joint venture.
I like
publishing.
It. Yeah. I'm all about joint ventures. I know you are too. So and books are like the open door, right? It's like, boom, you immediately you're in the conversation.
And by the way, there's no money in books, but there's a boatload of money from being in books. I'm going to give you an example. There's only 3 reasons you should ever write one. One is for ego, legacy, to leave your story behind. 2 is for leverage, to open up more doors of opportunity to sell more real estate. And 3 is to become a leader in your chosen field of endeavor. And it's important to know why you start before you start. It's like saying I want to be an actor. Well, Broadway, TV, movies, they're same industry, but 3 different directions. And it's the same thing in books. So it's important to know where you're going to go before you begin.
I like it. I'm going to somehow try to tie this back, and we'll put everything in the show notes too, link to the joint venture publishing, all that stuff, and anything else we mentioned. Hollywood, because you obviously now you've dabbled, what you said, 10 years in, it was Wishman, right? Was that the movie?
Yeah. Well, now I've been, my IMDb, believe it or not, I've got 21 awards and done some pretty good stuff doing these new movie shorts. I've kind of mastered this system. And nice. I'll tell you the secret of this one, because like we do this event called Secret Knock, and the whole idea is your secrets. Tell us just cut to the chase. I don't need 90 minutes. Just give me your thing. And I asked the guy who started a channel, what is that called? Showtime TV, Jules. And I said, what is the secret to Hollywood? I go, I'm getting nowhere. Everyone says yes, but I'm getting nowhere. And here's his answer. He says, in Hollywood, a yes means no. A no means no. A maybe is all you're looking for. And I go, what do you mean? He says, when someone goes, yeah, baby, we're going to make you a star. That's their way of telling you no. A no is a no. But when they go, hey, that's a good idea. Let's sit down with the figurehead at a studio and see if that's all you're looking for. So every time I go to Hollywood and they say, yeah, baby, we're going to give you 16 million. As soon as I heard that, I knew that was a no. But I actually believed it because where I grew up, when someone says yes, it is a yes. But in Hollywood, it's the opposite. A yes is a no is a no, a maybe is all you're looking for.
How do you get a maybe, Greg?
Great question. Surround yourself with people that are getting the results that we want for ourselves. For example, when I wanted to do this movie, I didn't go to other friends that have never done movies. What I did is who started networks, who's won an Oscar, who's won the thing. And the most successful people are the most available if you reach out with specificity. And I know I don't say that right because I'm dyslexic, but being specific. And it works like this. If I want to get to an Oscar winner, I say, I'm asking for 12.5 minutes of your time. I'll cover all my own costs and expense to come see you. From the time I open the door till I leave will be 12 and a half minutes exactly. I'll start a stopwatch to ask you one question, XYZ. The chance of them coming from their office to the break room for that 12 and a half minutes becomes finite. It's so easy for them to do. But unfortunately, most people do it wrong. They say, I want to pick your brain. I want to take you to lunch. I want to buy you. No one wants to go hang out with you. But when you make it finite like that, it makes it easy for them to say yes.
That's such a good lesson for anybody to, like, if you're looking for joint ventures. I mean, there's a lot of entrepreneurs listening to this right now. It's like, how do you open doors to maybe a massive joint venture partner or publisher or whoever that you're looking to get in front of? Well, be specific.
And it was interesting. It's like, if I do a speaking engagement and I come off and there's 1,000 people, they're lined up, they want autographs, pictures, they want to sign books. And they say the nicest thing, how can I work with you? How can I be of contribution? How can I be of service? I don't got 30 minutes for a resume. Compare that to someone walks up and said, dude, love your little talk right there. I took some video. I make them for people for internet. I created your really cool version. Let me send it to you. If you like it, maybe you'll use me. 8 seconds. I know who you are, what you do. You got my cell phone. We're in contact. That's the difference between success and setback.
That's good, man. So much you can run with that and take and apply it. I want to go back now because you spent all this time, these years doing film, working with Napoleon Hill, which I want to get into as well. You know what? I'm gonna pause what I'm about to ask and actually ask about Napoleon Hill first, so we can lay a little bit more ground. Tell me about how the heck that happened, because I mean, Think and Grow Rich, that's like every entrepreneur, maybe investor should have read that and reread that, yearly, let's say. But yeah, how did that story come to be?
Yeah, that's the Bible of personal development. I mean, that's the holy grail, right? And Napoleon Hill, when he was a young guy, he was like 20-something years old. He was a magazine reporter and gave access to the richest dude. His name was Andrew Carnegie. And at the end of the interview, Carnegie says, here's an offer. Work for me for free for 20 years, and I'll send you on a mission to meet my friends and write the first ever formula for success. When Napoleon Hill said yes, Carnegie pulled out a stopwatch and gave his guest 60 seconds to make up his mind to work for free. And when he agreed to it, there was 31 seconds left on the clock. He made a major life-changing decision in 29 seconds. But what's cool is that Carnegie made the same offer to 250 men before Napoleon Hill. He was the only person to say yes. Most people don't take action when a golden opportunity comes their way. They have something called the bad case of the once eyes. It means I'll take action once I get the kids out, once I get the big break. And it's the people that take that action, like we talked about when we began this conversation, they're the ones that we tell the stories about. Fast forward 100 years later, the Napoleon Hill Foundation that bears his name and family gave me a same letter of introduction like Carnegie gave to Hill, but I did it 100 years later. And it was a Willy Wonka ticket to meet anyone. And from there, we wrote the Think and Grow Rich series, where Sharon Lechter and I just kind of blew it up. We wrote 3 Feet from Gold, and then all of a sudden, Bob Proctor and I wrote Thoughts Are Things, Stickability, Outwitting the Devil. Sharon did. We did Thoughts Are. I mean, it's just all these amazing things came to be because we said yes.
Wow. What? So you went on that Willy Wonka. Oh, you had the ticket at least. What are some standout lessons from some of the interviews or these interactions you had with people on your journey?
Yeah, stickability. First there's a dream, then there's a challenge, and then there's victory. Most people quit in the challenging times. And it's the few and far between people that persevere. They're the ones that we tell the story about. But the greatest one is successful people seek counsel and failures listen to opinion. What's the difference? Opinions based on ignorance, lack of knowledge, or inexperience, like all your family friends at the barbecue who's never done what you want to do. Counsel's based on wisdom, knowledge, mentorship. If I go to a family friend and say I'm going to become an international best-selling author, my uncle's going to try to talk me out of that to protect me and keep me safe because he knows I'm dyslexic and he's never written a best-selling book. If I go to Mark Victor Hansen, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul and sold 1 billion copies, he's going to say, Greg, sit down. Here's what you need to know, and give you a counsel based on wisdom, knowledge, mentorship. If we would spend our activity only seeking counsel and ignoring people's opinion, that's the exact moment your life would change.
That's so true. And taking action. So like that bit right there, being the motivator. I want you to break that down even more, because you just told the story about Napoleon Hill, meeting Carnegie, and 29 seconds, he made that decision. I'm going all in. I'm doing this. So I guess what are some, I don't know, frameworks, but there's mental models that you use when it comes to actually taking action and momentum, making sure you're doing it in the right direction as well.
Yeah, well, I surround myself with people that I have respect for and not people I have influence over.
I see.
Surround yourself with people you have respect for and not people you have influence. And here's the big one. Never allow another person or yourself to talk you out of what you know to be true. Listen, when I did my first book, I was turned down by 268 publishers, agents, and printers. The 269th one said, we'll do your book, just change the title, beginning, middle. It sucked. It was like dog, boat, beaver, car. It made no sense. So I got a ghostwriter. They recrafted it. And one quote from that book was shared 37 million times. It's about goal setting. And you've probably seen it on coffee mugs and t-shirts. It says, a dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken into steps becomes a plan. And a plan backed by action makes your dreams come true. Famous quote shared 37 million times from a book turned down. And what's funny is I happen to be home when we're doing this, but check this out. Yeah. I pull this out, and this right here are all my rejection. There they are. These are all the people telling me every reason why I'll never be an author.
It's so good, man. It's so good. Yeah, I knew you had those, but I wanted to see them. I was hoping they were right next to you.
And also, we're here. I'm gonna show you something that I've never been. You'll be the first podcast ever. When I went to Napoleon Hill Foundation, I went through their archives, basically a storage shed. But check this out. We found these checks. Oh, these were written by Napoleon Hill to Napoleon Hill on Napoleon Hill's thing, paying himself back for the promotion of a book called Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah. How much is on that check? I can't quite read the number on there.
$135.09. And it's for the radio and television appearances.
Okay.
For him to go back and do it.
That's so cool, man. Awesome stuff. I'm going to pause this really fast and shout out a podcast that you should go follow. It's called The Science of Scaling. It's hosted by Mark Roberge, and it's brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. Now, the reason why I like this show is that each week, Mark Roberge, the host, sits down with leaders in business and talks about scaling properly. So I like Mark because he is in the trenches. He is the founding CRO of HubSpot, senior lecturer at Harvard Business School. He's a co-founder of Stage 2 Capital. And he's diving into these secrets, the strategies, all these tactics of how to properly grow with people that are doing it right now. What I've found is most companies, when they're growing, they either do the wrong things to grow or they do the right things in the wrong order. And that's what I gathered from these episodes. So it's a great way to straighten all that up. So go listen to Science of Scaling wherever you get your podcasts. The world's top entrepreneurs are already cloning themselves with AI, and you can too. At AI Build Team, we've already helped industry leaders turn their knowledge into AI-powered digital twins that teach, sell, and engage on autopilot. It's not the future, it's literally happening right now, so don't get left behind. Head over to aibuildteam.ai/Joe, and you can talk with my AI twin. You'll instantly see how it works and how it can help you scale. So again, head over to aibuildteam.ai/Joe. That reminds me of, the Success Principles book, and I'm sure he got it from there. It was Jim Carrey wrote a check to himself. I'm sure you know the story, before he hit it big, and think it was $1 million check or something like that. And he was finally, he made it. I remember I wrote it because after that, right when I started, I wrote myself a check as well. And I actually forget what the number was. I was able to cash it. Maybe I should have gotten bigger, but either way.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole idea is first there's a dream, then there's a challenge, and then there's victory. If we can persevere through the challenging times, that's all it difference between you and your family and friends. That's it. It's not rocket science. Everyone thinks it's some difficult thing. Every billionaire, every rocket scientist I've met aren't rocket scientists. They're just regular people. And they saw a vision. It's a guy who invented the spork or the cardboard king of Wisconsin. It's usually not the sexy glamour businesses that you see. It's the people that saw something, they took action where no one else saw it before, and they actually capitalized on it. Troy Cathy, founder of Chick-fil-A, he made me my first chick sandwich I ever had. And he said to me, he goes, if you want to be successful, stop planning so much. Stop overthinking it. I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, you had a lot of plans last year. How did that work out for you? He says, you'll hit a goal, but I guarantee it won't go as you expect. He says, look for and capitalize on unexpected opportunity. And I said, what do you mean? He says, well, if I'm on the sofa and I want to get to the end of the street, get off your butt and move towards the goal. He goes, but a planner, they plan every step and they strategize. But if a sprinkler comes on, it goes against plan, they run back home. He goes, that's what majority of people do. He goes, I look for opportunity. Did a kid leave a skateboard or a bicycle out that I can make my journey short? Journey short. If I get real lucky, I'll wave down a neighbor driving by and hitch a ride. Yeah. He goes, either way, I'll get to my goal. I'm just not so caught up in exactly how it has to happen.
That's awesome because Chick-fil-A, you look at it and you're like, man, this is a fine-tuned machine right here when you go through the process and, everything's, right in order, but it didn't start that way, right? It started messy, I'm sure. And
it did. It started with three-person stools at a place called The Dwarf, and he started doing this business. And his son, when Dan took it over and just really took it and blew it up and, grew it the way it is, it was a true family affair. What was really nice, again, is that where could we be in our own business if we stop over planning and analyzing every damn thing and we just took action towards it?
That reminds me of, when I was chatting with Scott, I think it was Bob Proctor, if I'm not wrong. He was the one that basically had you, or I could be getting wrong, the name. I got to look at my notes. But, you worked with early, I know it was Charlie Tremendous Jones was early. That's what Scott was telling me. He helped me with a little bit my fact finding. But basically what you worked with Brian Tracy, in the era of Brian Tracy, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, but you were sent on missions, right? To report back what you're doing. And most people just would never actually show progress, right?
That and the way you honor your mentors is to actually follow through and then show them what you did and then ask for more guidance. When I wanted to be a speaker, there's this guy named Les Brown. Yeah. And I went to him and said, Les, I want to be a speaker like you. Give me one nugget, one thing I could do. He did. I found him a month later. I said, Mr. Brown, I met you a month ago. I asked for a nugget. You gave it to me. Here's my results. What should I do next, sir? First of all, he's shocked that someone did it. But more importantly, the chance of him giving me the second nugget goes up 1,000,000%, right?
Absolutely.
And here's what he taught me. I'm going to give it to you real quick. He says, when you're on stage, the first thing you can tell is a senior person from not is by the way they hold their microphone. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, most new people, they hold it like a rap star and they put it like this and they talk to you. He goes, first of all, you're blocking yourself from the audience. He goes, not me. What I do is I hold it at the very end and I extend it so people can still hear me, but I connect with my people doing it this way. So simple, little thing. But as soon as I started doing it, I said, what's my next? And he gave me the next and the next and the next. And here we are today. In fact, it's so funny when I got a chance to speak at the, Pentagon. I got a chance to speak at the United Nations General Assembly floor for the Novus Summit, all this crazy stuff. And every time I go on stage, this big thing is I keep thinking, hold it at the end.
You're like, come on, man, it's so simple.
Hold it at the end.
I mean, that's good. And hold it close enough to your face. Don't be like one of those guys that are way out there either. But yeah, I love that, man. Before, because I want to get into AI and kind of some of the things that you've done there, but going back to what you said really early, and I forget exactly what you said, but it was basically you spent more than a couple decades working with other people. You had Napoleon Hill, you did the film stuff for a decade, and obviously a whole bunch of other things. Do you feel like you would be where you're at now, or like you obviously it helped you get to where you're at, but I'm just curious, because you mentioned something about working on yourself, instead of working with all these other people. I guess I just
Yeah,
wanted
and there's
to,
no crystal ball.
no,
So
no,
half of me says, imagine if I spent this much, how organized I am, 20
mhm,
years building my business
right,
compared to someone else's business. Logic would tell you you'd be more ahead. On the same note, I wouldn't have switched it for anything. I mean, yeah, the honor to have done those things were the greatest blessings of my life. And
yeah,
so I would never exchange them. So, for example, there's zero regret. There's only appreciation, love, gratitude, and those amazing feelings. That's how I feel associated with it. Yet,
yeah.
on the same note, to answer your question, yeah, I think I would have been further along in certain other aspects.
And that's pretty much what I was kind of hoping you'd say, because there's so many entrepreneurs, including myself, who've partnered up with people or seen an opportunity with a company or whoever expert, and you're just like, I can give a lot of value here. I'm going to learn a lot in the same time, but also it's going to open up doors that I maybe didn't have before.
Right.
So,
Do more than you get paid for, and then eventually get paid for more than you do. And it's not, again, is technical stuff. We keep talking about keeping it simple. One of my favorite guys is this billionaire dude named Brian. He made it in dirt. I go, how'd you make $1 billion in dirt? He goes, that's easy. He goes, all I do is find a town that's growing 25% a year. Go on Google Maps, you can see it. I go, what? He goes, yeah. He goes, I look for Broadway, Main Street. I draw a line out 8 miles. I buy the dirt. Go, okay. He goes, I rent the dirt to farmers. They paid the lease, so it's free land, and I get vegetables for years. And as the town grows at 25%, which is historically is done, eventually it ends up on my plot. And since I'm on Broadway Main Street, I resell it to big box stores 800 times what I paid. $1 billion.
that's freaking genius. And it can still be done.
If that,
Just start looking at the map.
I'm doing one right now. And it's
Are
so
you?
wild how this is so simple.
I love it. I love it.
Everyone is that thing. It's funny because Scott introduced me to this guy, the Steiner Sports. I don't know if you ever seen the sports memorabilia stuff with the
Oh, yeah.
signed jersey, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Same thing. How'd you make all your money? You go, dirt. You go, what? Everyone's saying the dirt. And he goes, yeah. He goes, if I had a pair of shoes from Derek Jeter, I could sell them for $2,000. But if he autographed them, there were 4. He goes, but there was dirt on the shoes, $20,000.
Ah, that gives me hope. I have all of that for Tony Gwynn. I have his gloves, and they're dirty, they're taped, and they're signed.
Oh, are
I
you
tracked him
kidding?
down. I swear, he
That's
gave them to me.
that's gold right there. That is gold.
Still have yet to frame it and put it on the wall right next to me. I
Oh,
really should do that.
being a San Diego native, I mean, that's a holy grail for us San Diegans.
I figured you would appreciate that. Yeah, I was hoping that you liked the pods.
3,000 hits. He was a
That's right.
legend. Good human being. His son's
Absolutely.
amazing. Just
Yeah,
great family. Just, yeah, all we have is positive stuff about that.
that's right.
Tony Gwynn, one of the cool things about him is that he understood the power of singles. And as entrepreneurs, we miss this. Everyone's swinging for these crazy shots, these home runs. But Tony Gwynn says, no, he goes, I put my shoulders same way, no matter what. He goes, I can strike out, I can hit a home run by accident. He goes, but I'm going to get on base. And he goes, and he focused on this. And as entrepreneurs, unfortunately, most of them are just swinging for the fences and wondering why they're striking out. And I think it's pretty cool as an entrepreneur to sell tickets or your bread and butter, hit your singles while once in a while you're swinging away. But we can't make that our primary focus.
And that's that momentum, right? That constant action. You're always moving forward or at least trying something new. You're getting that single.
Yeah. Okay. And I know we're getting ready to wrap up. I'm going to tell you one last story about Troy Cathy. I got so many stories about other people.
I know.
This is such a good one. I was in his office, is in Atlanta, Georgia, and it's hard to explain the prestige of this building. I just imagine it's just incredible. And he has this office on the top floor and panoramic glass, stunning. And there's a picture thumbtacked to the thing. It's like a poster, like Hello Kitty.
Yeah,
And it was a mountain climber. And it was like, what? I go, you have billions of dollars and stuff, and it's a thumbtack. I go, this doesn't go together. And he says, this is how I've lived my life and ran my business, and this is why we're successful. I said, all right, you want to hear it? And he goes, you see that mountain climber? I go, yeah. And he goes, that's what I did as an entrepreneur, where most people miss it. And I go, explain. He goes, most people as an entrepreneur, they see the top of the mountain, the quest. And he goes, all they want to do is summit. So they get their momentum up. We all got the same thing. We're filled with hype and excitement, and we run up that thing. But as soon as we get to a certain thing, we skip and we fall and we go all the way to the bottom. These are the people that fail, go bankrupt, and quit their business. He goes, not me. He goes, I'm that mountain climber. And he pointed to a guy and he was dangling off the side. And I says, why is that? And he says, you know what he does is he goes up about 10, 20 feet and he takes a little carabiner and he ties himself off to the mountain. Then he climbs up another 20 feet. He says, eventually when they have their mistake, he goes, all entrepreneurs do, I only go down 10 feet. He goes, that way I can regain my stability and then continue my quest. He goes, that is the way I've run my business. And that's why we're here today.
Dang, that's a damn good analogy.
Isn't that awesome?
So I've never heard that one. That's great, man. Okay. I want to wrap this up on, I think something that I'm thinking is pretty damn close to your heart is using technology and AI, but how it applies to your family. And if you're open to, I don't know how much, you want to share here, with basically the use of some really cool technology and your son.
So a year ago, my son was in a catastrophic motorcycle accident. Basically, he was going the speed limit in the bike lane, wearing his gear, the whole bed of car pulled in front of him, a true pure accident. But he ended up having the most severe brain injury that a human can have. There's nothing higher. And what happened is that they said he'd more than likely never speak again, and he'd be in a vegetative state. And we didn't want that as our prognosis. But it was really bad. I mean, I'm not going to fib you. There was 20, 30 rips in his brain, in his brainstem. It was impossible mathematically, like a bumblebee, for him to talk or walk or anything of this nature. But we said, we're going to throw the kitchen sink at him. So what we did is we did every modality from all the connections that I made along this quest. And this is where you don't know what is set for you, because I'm going to backtrack and this in full circle. Yeah. I believe if I did not go on the quest with Napoleon Hill Foundation, I would not have met the amazing people that open up the doors of opportunity for my son to have the great success that he has today, and all of his achievements and him coming back. And what we did is one thing that was spectacular. While he was in his coma, while he was in his vegetative state, we used the AI tools where he's an actor. I took all of his audition tapes. We made a twin clone of him. And then I trained the clone to speak to him in his own voice and walk him back to us. So while he was in his coma, he would say, hey, Colt, this is you. You're going through a circumstance. You are in a bike accident. You're in a hospital right now, and here's what's going on. And your body parts are firing great, but your brain right now has some challenges. Here's what we want you to do. We want you to focus on reconnecting. And what we did is train it each and every day. I would come in with these new different talks, and the doctors would come in the room and go, like Colonel Klink, I see nothing. And they walk out, and we kept doing it and feed him this stuff. It's been a year later, and he's now 100% recovered. He's the first human alive of his age group to ever recover from this. And we believe it's all these amazing modalities. And part of it is Delphi and the great people in the organization who did it. Now, would I have ever met them if I didn't do this quest with Napoleon Hill, or they wanted me to do this for my fans? I don't know. So at the end of the day, I do believe in the Simba circle of life moment where it all came to be.
Dude, what an awesome story. And it's so great. 100% recovered, like in a year. That's wild. Because
it is wild. Hey, Cole, I keep hearing something down there. It's either ghosts or something like that. So I use out there now doing whatever. But
it'd be cool to see it, but it's all good.
I know. Yeah. Well, I just want to make sure he's not out there going through my wallet. You know how these kids are. So he's now a typical 13-year-old kid having fun, jamming music. And it was so funny how you use words against you. So the other day he was doing something. He was playing this rap music so loud. And I came in like, man, turn this down. And he goes, Dad, there was a time not too long ago, you would have given anything for me to be able to listen to this music.
He's going to hold that again. Smart kid, man.
There you go. All right. Well, I want to say thank you for having me on.
Thank you, man.
Anytime you want to do it again in the future. Thanks for also coming out to our event. Next week, we're fired up to have you with us.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And what, before you bolt out, Greg, how can people follow along, learn about some of these events and cool stuff?
Yeah, just go on Instagram, Greg S. Reid. It's the easiest way because that's how we're all connected in the short attention span now.
That's right.
And more importantly, if you reach out to me and send a DM, it all goes to me, no filter, no assistance. And I promise to respond to everybody.
You're the man, Greg. I appreciate you. I look
Hey,
forward to
Cole.
this weekend.
Come up here real quick. Ándale rápidos. I knew I heard him down there somewhere.
I'm not a ghost.
So listen to this one. So this is him again. Remember, a year ago, he was pretty messed up.
Hey, Cole.
Isn't that pretty amazing?
It's awesome, man.
We're saying, how was the recovery, man?
It's been great, man.
You still talking to yourself too with the AI?
No, yeah, I mean, listen to it. Yeah, it's so funny. I got to plug him back in there. So when you
That's all
come
good.
to Prosperity Camp, make sure you bring a copy so he can hear it. Remember,
I'm gonna do
he was in a coma, dude. He doesn't know what the heck he was saying.
I know. Yeah. Jeez. Good for you, man. You're strong as heck. So it's cool to see you got a cool dad. Obviously,
man.
you know.
Okay,
that.
we're going to end with this one. You before the accident, he used to do this mantra. Every night before he goes to bed, he'd say positive messages. We believe what you put into your conscious and subconscious mind determines who you are. What's your mantra?
My mantra is, my name is Cole. I'm powerful. I'm brave. I'm wise. I'm worthy. I'm successful. I help people. My name is Cole.
Get out of here. You're bugging me. All right.
rock, dude.
That's it. I'll see you in a bit.
Thanks, guys. Have a good
Bye.
one.